All right, welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 54. And as usual, this is it's an open space for general topics, anything that you are working with Forge, any applications or projects that you're working with. We love to hear from you. And if you have any questions or topics, bring up, you can open your microphone and share what we're doing or ask your questions. So let's go with you first. I see today we have 10 developers, 8 people coming in. Welcome. I'm not sure if that's the first time, but yeah. Any interesting process going on? No?
Yeah, this Suresh here.
Oh, hi, Suresh. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So basically, I work on asset management thing where I am using Forge. So I am attending to learn more about it.
Mm-hmm. And you said asset management?
Yes, asset management. So basically, I have a Revit model with all of the equipments, and we have one software which is used in operation and maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So that hierarchy, I am basically linking with uh, Forge Viewer somehow. So yeah, that is what we are doing currently.
Okay, and do you use BIM 360?
Yeah, basically I am Autodesk Expert Elite as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I do use BIM 360. Yes.
All right, and with Forge, have you started already? Have you done anything?
So basically we have one team where I give them the Revit or Naviswork model to them, and they convert them into JSON, and then basically somehow link with the Forge Viewer backend. They are linking with our asset data within the software. So basically what we are facing is file size, how to reduce metadata what comes from the Revit model. So I want to more explore onto that side, that if suppose I am exporting into the Revit model, from the Revit model I am exporting into the Naviswork, and then when we export into the Forge Viewer, basically, so how we reduce that, metadata. Because because there are some, default properties into the Revit which comes within Forge Viewer directly. So somehow, I want to reduce that so that, the file size becomes lesser, and it uploads faster into the
And
Forge Viewer.
you are having performance issues with Viewer?
So basically we have issues like, if I have a bigger file size, say 750 MB, I am not able to, we do upload, but we are not able to visualize that into Forge.
You said 150 megabyte?
750 MB.
750. It should not be that much, right? Are you using SVF2?
Sorry?
Are you using SVF2?
SVF2.
Yes.
No, basically the Naviswork file is of size 750 MB.
Oh, it's a Navisworks. I thought it was Revit. Okay.
Revit is even bigger, I will say. Our complete project, if you see our complete project size, it's quite huge. Maybe around 50 GB if we combined all the file in Naviswork itself. But
I see.
we want to load that into the parts.
Yeah. So if you haven't tried that yet, so that's something to begin with, right? SVF2 means that when you translate, you ask for SVF2 translation, right? And what I've seen is that the geometry size can reduce significantly, but for Navis is not that much. So the greatest improvement is for Revit files, but Navis you do have some improvement as well. So try it out. Yeah, I mean, you may need to reduce the amount of properties you have if you have too much data coming in, right? And in some cases, the data can be part of the performance constraint. And you should be able to load 700 megabyte model, Navis model in Viewer. But I'll be curious if that's not working. And you can also, if you can share more information, you can also use our support system, right? So go to support, get help. And if you can share the URL, at least we can check it out what's happening there, because it should load, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I am discussing with Isan.
Oh, Isan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's very good. So I'll trust him then.
Yeah. So he has provided some workarounds, and the one which he has told is to reduce the metadata.
Yeah.
So I am trying that onto that, and like other was related to some programming stuff backend. So I will get connected with you as well. One of the guy who is working with me, and will update you onto that. And I will also try this SVF file. So
SVF2,
yeah, SVF2. SVF2, are there any advantages beside Navi's work into this?
Well, in summary, when you do SVF2, right, you are the translator is removing, is deduplicating the geometry, right? Meaning that if you have a model that is lots and lots of repeating geometry, right, it reuses that geometry, so it uses less memory. Therefore, it loads faster and lighter, right? So that's the bottom line of it. But it works for most of the models, and the greatest performance improvement is for Revit. There is some performance improvement for Navis as well.
Okay. So right. we can get SVF2 from Navi's work when I export that.
Yeah. So when you post translation, instead of saying SVF, you say SVF2.
Okay.
That's it. As simple as that. And by the way, this is the beta announcement. The general availability was announced as well. So also there. Cool. Thank you, Suresh. Interesting. Yeah, performance is always it's a top topic right now, and we know that how important that is, and it's always a moving target, right? So whenever we have when we deliver a performance improvements to the viewer, there is a bigger model coming in after that. So at the beginning, back in 2015, right, the biggest model we saw at that time was 500 megabyte. Now you're talking about 50 gig, right? And we are seeing larger and larger models all the time. So it's the computers are getting better, the translation is getting better, the viewer is getting better, version over version. So yeah. All right, thank you. Interesting.
Thank you.
What else?
Can I ask you a question? This is Jared here.
Oh, who? Sorry. Oh, Jared. Yes. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Do you know?
Yeah. So just we're facing a problem with downloading issues from BIM 360. Works fine when we have a small quantity, but we've a couple of user projects where the number of issues is quite large, approximately 15,000. And obviously we have to go looping through, retrieving in smaller batches, but it takes a long time to get, to load a list of issues and to retrieve them. Is there any trick or tip you might be able to offer about that?
So are you talking BIM 360 or ACC?
In both. BIM 360 and is the more immediate one.
Okay. when you say download issues, you mean get the data for that issue or get attachments for the issues?
Get the data first, and attachments is the second question, the second part of the question, but even just getting the data for those issues can
Makes
take
sense.
quite a long time.
Yeah, so it takes time because you said you have like, I know, thousands and thousands, right? So it takes time. So
Yes.
The bottom line is that you can only go as fast as the rate limit, right? So you see here that the rate limit for, so how did I get here, right? So documentation, and then BIM 360, and then rate limit, issues, rate limit. So there is a specification for each API. What is the rate limit? Meaning that you can make 500 requests at a time, right? So that's how fast you can go. You cannot request more than 500 per minute, right?
Okay.
Because that's the rate limit. So that's your like benchmark, right? Now, what you can do is to do such a large job, to do thousands and thousands, right? Always the best way is to have a queuing system for that. So you don't have a sequential way to do it, but you queue up all the issues that you have, right? So let's say, sorry. So the first thing you do is you say get issues, so that you get you a complete list, right? With that get issues, you say, okay, for issue number 1, send that to the queue, right? And after finishing getting all the issues and sending all of them to the queue, but no, you don't have to wait. Actually, you just send to the queue and say now process 100 at a time, right, to get more information. But this queuing system is the way for you to do lots of jobs. So you always have to break down your job or the test that you want to do into separate things, right? So the first step is get all the issues, and then you send that to the queue. For each issue, you send the attachments to the queue again, right? So you have a different queue to get the attachments. So you can do that in parallel. So by the end, you have several jobs running at the same time, but we're just queuing them, and the queue will take care of retrying if something happens, right? So let's say you have a rate limit issue, rate limit happening, you can just wait or say job mark as failed and retry in I don't know, in 5 minutes or whatever, right? So you can, the queue will manage that for you. Okay. Now, what is the programming language that you're using to write this?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
What is the programming language? Node.js, .NET, Python?
Yes, .NET.
Oh, .NET. So for .NET, I've used before this one here, Hangfire. It's a free open source library for .NET, right? So essentially, it's a queue management system. If you don't have anything, that's one to start. It's MIT, is open source, and essentially you do that, right? You keep enqueuing the jobs and saying, okay, now run 50 at a time. So that will really speed up the process because you are running 50 queries at a time. Of course, the second limit is how much compute power you have to do all those queries, but the heavy lifting is on the Autodesk side, right? Okay. Okay. I've used this Hangfire before, and it's interesting.
I'm not familiar with it.
Sorry, say again.
I'm not familiar with Hangfire. No, I have not used it.
Well, yeah, it's a queuing system, right? So there are many different ways to enqueue tasks, right? Hangfire is just one of many options. I'm just saying one that I used in the past that you can use as well. It's and I've used that because it's open source and MIT license, so it's easy. So okay. What I used this for was I have one job querying all the folders, right? And one task for each folder. And then for each folder, I get all the files and queue them. So I have a queue of folders and a queue of files. For each file, I say, okay, now give me the metadata of that file. And for that job, I have a third queue of all the metadata that I want to retrieve. So I have all those jobs running in parallel, and it runs really fast because you can say run 10 folders at a time, 50 files at a time, so you can do it really fast.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, the second part, we mentioned attachments. Is there still a limitation on retrieving attachments via the API? Or can that be done now?
Well, you can get attachments. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think there's some gaps in the metadata that we can retrieve as well. Like, for example, a description. No, actually, I'm sorry, I'm confusing this with files as well. We can't retrieve file description and file size, for example.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't think I have changed those limitations at this point. I know that you can download the attachments, right? So there is a URL here to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's just some of the metadata. I'm thinking there obviously is still an issue.
Yeah, we haven't made any change on the BIM 360 API recently.
Right.
Sorry, BIM 360 issues API recently.
Yeah. Yeah. I think obviously, as you said before, it's all the changes are happening on the ACC side.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that answer. Anyhow.
Cool. So there is a question here from Jonathan. If you have anything for like that for like queuing system for Python or Node, I do know one for Python. What is it? I'm trying to find a blog that I did in the past. Oh yeah, resilience. So this was a blog post about resiliency in general, right? What should we consider and ideas, right? This is not a complete summary, but give you some ideas. And there's something about queuing here, and yeah. So yeah, fetch, retry, Axios. Yeah. So BQ. That's one for Node. And again, this is just one of many options. It's again, I believe MIT license. Where is it? License. Here. Yeah, it is MIT. And yeah, it helps you manage queue in a similar way. So what you really have to look at queues, Jonathan, if you're looking for it, right? There are no language specific like a library like this, but you can also use Azure or AWS to manage that for you. So they have queue as a service. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to implement that. You can just use the queuing system from that kind of system. But yeah, so this is another one, works same way. And it's, what are the ratings now? Yeah, reasonably good. I haven't tried anything for Python, so I don't know. I have a question about, so Alex, you have a question about data management API. I usually get signed URL for both read and write. So my question is, could we confirm that these methods will be work after September 30th? So now we are talking about the signed URLs, right? Let me come back to the blog here. And I believe this is now on the second page here. And yes, that's still what will happen, right? We are turning off, we'll be deprecating the way to upload files and upload and download, and you have to start using the direct to S3 approach. Where is the documentation? Where's the blog post? Sorry. Sometimes a bit hard to find them here. Let me try a different way. Direct to S3. Oh yeah, thank you. So yeah, so that's the change that is happening. So instead of downloading from developer.api.autodesk.com, we are providing you the direct link to the S3 bucket, S3 object that is hosting that file. So you can upload directly to S3, right? So there is a huge benefit there, right? Because when you upload and download straight to the S3, you are bypassing the Autodesk infrastructure in that case. So it's way faster, especially for large files, right? Because you have to stream a lot of data. So it's way faster. Now, the date to deprecate the current way to use put and get is September 30th. And if you're having questions or need help moving your code, just send us a support ticket. We can definitely work with you and provide you more information. Yes, so you are also asking about this signed here, right? So there isn't, so what is deprecated is the, where is it? Get and put, but there is also a way to get a signed resource like this, right? This endpoint will not change. The only thing that is changing is the response for this endpoint, because right now, when you say get, something weird happened here. When you say get, you, yeah, here, right? You get something like this. Yes, you get something like this. The URL will be different, right? So, but if as your code is just using a string value, you can download and upload to that location. So there is no problem there. But these endpoints are not changing, and you can still use them if you want. So if you want to use this signed URL, you can still use them. Should be working the same way. The only caveat is that the signed URL do not work for BIM 360 or ACC, right? So if you have your own bucket, you can still use this. It should work the same way. The only thing that is changing is that the URL that is coming back from the endpoint will point to S3. Yeah, so if you're using signed URLs already, you don't have to, it should be easier for you. Yeah, that's a big migration. And we have code sample in .NET, Node, and no details there. All right. Interesting questions. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Jonathan. Just coming back to queuing, that's particularly important when you have something that is a very long job, right? And you don't want to do that as a single process, right? Because if it fails the whole thing. So it's one all or nothing, right? In that case. But if you break down and queue all those jobs, then one can fail and you can continue the rest of it. So it's easier. Of course, you have to look at your rules, right? But if you're just doing a extraction of data, it doesn't matter the order, right? Because you're just extracting data and you can run them in parallel to run it faster. All right. I'm talking too much, so let me come back to you. What else is going on? Very quiet today. Yes, so Gerard, the recordings, yes. So we do record all of those sessions, and by the end I'll show where the recordings are, and yeah, all of them. So including today's session. All right, what else? Anyone here going to the hackathon in 2-3 weeks? You have any interesting projects coming in? Planning? Should be fun, right? Yeah. So if you don't know, right? So roughly every month we have a virtual over the last 2 years, right? We're having virtual accelerators, but the week before you, over the last 3 years, instead of doing an accelerator, we do a hackathon the week before. So the difference is that we still have no real-time support. The team will be there to help you on your project. But the main difference is that we have challenges and interesting prizes at the end, right? But if you're a business, one of the best opportunities is to show what you did to the Autodesk community, because we showcase all the winning projects with the AU audience. Right? So this year, challenges are here. 3D game, data, digital twin, task automation, ACC, and Hack the Planet. And you can do anything on those in these areas using Forge or using Autodesk in general. And yeah, it will be the week before AU. And yeah, just register here. This will be fun as well. we also have a boot camp coming the week before that. So if you have a colleague that have never tried Forge, this boot camp, it's an online training, so kind of training, right? That you do hands-on and work on your code. 2 weeks before, you can get a very good understanding about Forge, and then you are ready for EU. We have 4 days in Europe and America's time zone. And you see that it's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., but it's not the whole time, right? So we just have small sessions during the day. So you can take a session, go do something else, do your work, and then come back and keep doing the training, and then in and out during the day. So it doesn't disturb you that much. And yeah, 4 days, maybe 1 or 2 hours of training is spread over the day, Americas and Europe time zone. All right. Again, I'm talking a lot. Anything else? Oops, stop here. Well, quiet audience today. Okay, so what else? The next coffee break will be coming on September 7th. Same link, same time. And as you asked, the recording, it's available on, I'm posting all of the recordings on Twitter. So just follow there. And yeah, the recording will be there in a few hours. And you can follow the thread to get all the other recordings as well. And with that, thank you very much for joining today. Hope you had a good time. And see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.